Welcome PNW Key Clubbers to our DCON Registration Webinar. As the deadline to register for DCON approaches, our committee hopes that this webinar. Thank you for taking the time to attend today. Before we get started, I'd like to introduce you to the other members of the 2021 to 2022 District Convention Committee. Hi, my name is Isabel Yu, and I serve as the District Convention Chair and the Lieutenant Governor of Division 33.
Hello, my name is Riley Alcobendis. I am the District Convention Committee Secretary, as well as the Lieutenant Governor of Division 44.
Hi everyone, my name is Kazuma. I'm the Lieutenant Governor of Division 27.
Hi, my name is Leilani Vallejo, and I'm the Lieutenant Governor of Division 1936.
Hi, I'm Paige Olson, and I'm the Lieutenant Governor of Division 2224.
Hi guys, my name is Victoria Plum, and I'm the Lieutenant Governor of Division 35.
All right, let's first review the agenda for tonight's webinar. First, we will be giving a brief overview of what to expect at DCON. Then we'll explain the exhibit hall, and afterwards we'll review awards before going over fundraiser ideas. And finally, we'll provide a walkthrough demo of the registration process. You will have a chance to ask any questions you have about DCON at the end of this webinar, so be sure to write them down. I will now pass it on to Victoria to give a brief overview of what to expect.
Thank you, Isabel. Let's do a quick overview of DCON. Our theme this year is Service in Secret. This year's district convention will be held at the Oregon Convention Center on Friday, March 11th to Sunday, March 13th next year. You might be wondering, how much is DCON? DCON is going to be $295 in person and $85 if you plan on attending virtually. Whether you choose to go online or in person, both include a t-shirt, tote bag, pin, lanyard, and access to all of the guest speakers, workshops, and entertainment we have to offer. As you can see, this is our lovely t-shirt designed by our webmaster Delaney Match. Here we have our tote bag design as well as our Morty the Moose pin. Super cute. As we previously mentioned, our DCON committee has chosen guest speakers who will be at our district convention. This year, we are featuring 3 different guests. Our first one is going to be keynote speaker Kyle Shield. Kyle is an aspiring speaker, author, and cardboarder who has challenged tens of thousands of students across the nation to build a better world. Whether he's keynoting to an arena full of students, singing Don't Stop Believing with 37,000 friends, or building yet another cardboard masterpiece, Kyle is constantly working on one thing: closing the gap between the way the world is and the way it could be.
My name is James and I'm 11 years old. I study mixed martial arts.
Recently had this startling realization about Oreo cookies, and it was that Oreo cookies are actually a test. Now, we've all known that Oreo cookies are a test of willpower, right? When you open it, the test is, can I eat 1 or 2 of these, or will I eat this entire sleeve? And for me, it's always the entire sleeve. But the realization that I just recently came to was that Oreo cookies are also a test of sanity, because only a crazy person would eat an Oreo cookie the way that an Oreo cookie is packaged, right? Only a crazy, insane psychopath would take that cookie out and just go, yeah, I think I should eat it just like this, and all the way through wafer, icing, wafer, whatever. That's not how you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to take it apart. Some people, lick it from there. Some people dunk it in milk. That depends on what your culture is, I guess. But only a psychopath would eat it the way that it's packaged. And that's a test. And tests are important in life. I know that a lot of us don't like tests. A lot of us hate taking tests. But a test is a really good tool because it shows you exactly where you are at. If you watch somebody eat an Oreo cookie the way that it comes in the package, you know right away that person cannot be trusted. In fact, that's why I always recommend first date you ever go on with somebody, bring an Oreo cookie. You'll figure out real quickly, should you invest any time into this relationship? Tests are helpful because they show you where you're at in life It's easy to sit in a classroom and fake it. It's easy to play the part of a student and look like you're taking in information, but a test will show you real quick how much of this information actually stuck, how much of this information was actually processed and retained, and how much of that was just you faking it. And a lot of life is like a test, especially the hard parts of life. See, the hard parts of life reveal to us exactly where we are. They reveal exactly how much we've actually learned on this journey and how much we were faking. It's easy to look like a great person when everything's going well, but a crisis is always going to reveal your character. A crisis will always reveal your character because a crisis will show where do you fall in this spectrum. And right now, we are in the middle of a crisis with COVID.
Awesome. Next is our megaforum speaker, David Edward Garcia. David is the only 5-language speaking motivational comedian on the planet. David emphasizes with diverse students who face challenges because he was once considered an at-risk student himself before defying the odds and graduating with a bachelor's degree and then earning his master's. He has motivated children and mature adults in some of the greatest metropolitan cities.
So it's like, David, maybe somebody from Canada or somebody from Great Britain, but David, you are from the United States. I mean, this is exactly, if you met people from there, they say this joke. He looked at me and he's like, David, now I tell you joke. David, if you speak 3 languages, you're trilingual. If you speak 2 languages, you're bilingual. David, if you speak 1 language, what are you? I said, you're monolingual. He said, no, you are from the United States. It's exactly what they say. So I went back to my neighborhood. Now, my neighborhood back home was 99% Hispanic. I never met the other 1%. I just know that they were there somewhere, statistically. They were probably hiding, I don't know. So I told the dudes in my neighborhood, I said, guys, I'm gonna learn languages, I'm gonna go to school, and I'm gonna travel all over the world. And the dudes in my neighborhood, they all looked at me, and they all said, David, we are so proud to be your parents. Really? Congratulations. This letter says that you're going to Yale. Really? You're going to jail. And so like this is what I was facing, right? Like I was going into the adult world and I was facing these 2 forces. Like on the one hand, man, I wanted to go to school, but I didn't feel smart enough. I was seeing people in school like that were telling me I couldn't do it. Even like principals and like a few teachers, they were letting me know that I wasn't good enough to make it. But on the other hand, there was a dream seed inside of me that I wanted to graduate. I wanted to have the ability to write my own future, not to be told, if you come from this neighborhood, David, if you come from South Texas, you are stuck. I wanted to break the mold. And maybe some of you this morning, you find yourself there, man, first day of school, first day of orientation, and you're ready. You have a picture of what your life can be. You have a dream seed. And you're facing these 2 forces, man. On the one hand, you want to go for it. You're saying, this is it. This is my moment to write a story. But on the other hand, you're facing the reality that there are some challenges, that maybe you have your own struggles, that they might not be like mine. And you're here in the middle saying, but I think I can do it. And I want to let you know, students, that it is possible. And I want to share with you this morning 4 keys, 4 things that I want to challenge you to find over the next journey that you have here, the duration of your journey in university. And if you'll find these things, listen, I want to let you know that you will find, you're guaranteed to find success. Now, success for...
Lastly is our entertainer, Kicking Sunrise. Kicking Sunrise is a duo from New Jersey. They have been featured on CBS Philadelphia, TBS for Major League Baseball, and TNT for the 2015 PGA Championship. In addition to the special guests I just mentioned, we will also have a personal development forums on Friday evening that will feature Sahil Punamiya and Stan Pearson. We hope everyone finds our special guests at DCON 2022 to be motivational and inspiring.
On the floor, love the way you're moving. Put on a show, let me in your movie. Lights, camera, action. It's only you in the spotlight to see. And the way you're acting, so good, but it's not right, baby. Let me be the reason that you wanna sleep in, causing all your unanswered calls. Let me be the reason you say you spent the weekend on a business trip with your boss. Let me be the one, got you lying to your friends, saying nothing's going on. I wanna be the late night, mysterious date night that you think about all day long. Conversation is turning into action. Misbehaving, but know it's about to happen. Tell them that you're staying, tell them that you're sick in bed, but we both know you'll be laying with your body up on mine instead. Let me be the reason that you wanna sleep in, causing all your unanswered calls. Let me be the reason you say you spent the weekend on a business trip with your boss. Let me be the one, got you lying to your friends, saying nothing's going on. I wanna be the late night, mysterious date night that you think about all day long. Let me be the one, I'm the one that you call when you're wasted. When they ask about me, you don't say, 'cause you wanna pretend it's no big deal, but those feels are real. Let me be the reason that you wanna sleep in, causing all your unanswered calls. Let me be the reason you say you spent the weekend on a business trip with your boss. Let me be the one, got you lying to your friends, saying nothing's going on. I wanna be the late night, mysterious date night that you think about all day long. Let me be the one, 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 let me be the one.
I hope you guys are looking forward to them because I know I am. Next, I'll pass it to Paige, who will be going over the exhibit hall.
Thanks, Victoria. I will now be talking about the exhibit hall at DCON, which welcomes colleges, universities, service partners, and our own outstanding key clubs. It is an excellent opportunity for your club to showcase their service projects or related resources to over 2,000 key clubbers from the Pacific Northwest. To register, your club can fill out the exhibit hall registration form via Google Form. If your club would like to submit more than one project, please fill out one form per project. The form must be submitted no later than February 1st at 11:59 p.m. Representatives should be assigned to be in charge of presenting for the duration of the exhibit hall. This role can be split among several people or assigned as shifts, but please make sure that everyone chosen understands their role and will arrive at the exhibit hall on time. For the presentation requirements, your club must provide the club name, location, division, the title or name of the project, a list of materials used if applicable, an overview of the project, when and where the project occurred, how many members attended, what your club did, the impact of the project on the community, and tips and tricks for members who want to plan this project in their own clubs. Pictures are recommended but not necessary. In the past, we've had several key clubs represented during the exhibit hall. For example, Mount Si and Interlake Key Clubs from Division 28 have discussed their Crafts for Kids, Relay for Life, Mama's Hands, and Bark for Life projects. Bark for Life was a service project that raised money for dogs and dog shelters. At DCON 2018, Mount Si collected donations during the exhibit hall and promoted their huge walkathon for community members and their dogs. Kent Meridian High School's Key Club in Division 32 also sold lanyards during their exhibit hall to help support their club's ongoing projects. Additionally, if your club received the PINWAF grant this year, I highly encourage you to participate in the exhibit hall to discuss your project. Hopefully, this has helped encourage you to show off your hard work at our exhibit hall this year, and I will now pass it off to Leilani to give an award review.
Thank you so much, Paige. Now we shall talk about awards. Okay, so remember that February 1st is the submission deadline, so please be wary and on top of your work when filling out awards forms. Okay, so now here are some general tips and tricks for all of you. Despite what the name might imply, just know that the process is very straightforward and should be fun and easy to go through with your officer board. So the first tip, please start early. I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to give yourself at least a couple of weeks of buffer room just in case something unexpected happens. There will be things that take an unexpectedly long amount of time, such as finding your Key Club ID number and gathering signatures, especially from people you might not talk to on a regular basis. You might also run into difficulties where you want to reach out to us for help, and that will take time too. So please figure out a way to hold yourself accountable and start tackling these early. Next, be thorough. Remember that the judges most likely won't know much about your club or even the town you live in. So the more detail you provide, the better. This is especially applicable to the more subjective sections without numbers and metrics. Remember, there are no reference points to follow. Third, proofread, proofread, proofread. Nothing is worse than carefully crafting a beautiful application and realizing that you spelled the words Key Club wrong. It's a great idea to have at least 3 separate people in 3 separate time frames read over your report, and then you'll be good to go. And finally, there is absolutely no penalty for trying. At the end of the day, one of the purposes of these awards is to wager some friendly competition, so enjoy. There are no application fees or hidden tricks, and you aren't going to be shamed for trying, so why not just go for it? The worst thing that could happen is you don't win, and even then you'll still have gained some valuable experience from trying. So when in doubt, just try it out and you might be surprised. Okay, now let's talk about the annual achievement report, which can be found in the DCON registration packet. Submitting this report itself qualifies the clubs for numerous awards and contests at DCON. The report will be filled out as follows. The first section is the club information section, which asks for basic information surrounding the club. This includes the club ID number, the address, and the faculty advisor's information. This section also requires the signatures of club president, Kiwanis advisor, school principal, and or faculty advisor, attesting the accuracy of the report. Within the club info section is the administration section. This entails accessing club records, as it asks you to indicate the attendance of various officers and advisors at club meetings, as well as the average attendance of each club meeting. The section also asks if the club has submitted the club election report, the date the club paid its dues, and its involvement in divisional events such as election rallies, DCMs, and PCMs. The rest of the report follows a similar self-reporting and grading pattern. Now we have the club service section. This section entails reporting all the service projects and activities in your club and what your club has held during the administrative year. Yeah, thank you. Okay. This section you have to in the next section, thank you. You will have to calculate the total amount of service hours performed by all the members of your Key Club. For example, if your club has a total of 625 hours and 25 members, the points for this section would be 25. And in the last section of the club service section, you will need to total the amount of money fundraised by the thank you, fundraised by the Key Club for nonprofit, educational, and other charitable purposes. Remember to convert these funds to US dollars. So, for example, if your club has raised a total of $500 US and has a total of 25 members, your average would be $20 per person, scoring you 20 points for this section. Remember, from there, you calculate your points, then report your scores per section in the scoring section at the very end of the form. Please keep track of your points, as this is a crucial part of the form. Thank you for listening to the overview of the annual achievement report and some general tips when filling out awards. I will now pass it off to Riley with some very creative DCON fundraiser ideas.
Thank you, Leilani. Now let's talk about fundraising and how it plays a part in your DCON experience. One of the most overlooked aspects of the DCON planning process is fundraising. Many clubs tend to put off fundraising or prioritize other events and opportunities for their members. It can be something Key Clubs easily overlook. However, we highly recommend that clubs begin fundraising for DCON as early as possible. The set price for in-person DCON registration, last slide please, is $295. This can be a hefty amount for anyone, but through effective fundraising, this price can be greatly reduced for you and your members. Let's look at some fundraiser ideas as well as some exceptional examples of past fundraising efforts. The first fundraising opportunity we're going to talk about today is a classic amongst Key Clubs: share nights with your local restaurants. I'm sure many of you are familiar with this type of event. A club will partner up with a restaurant, and members can attend with a portion of the proceeds going towards the club. When hosting a share night at your club, though, it's important that you put an extra emphasis on advertising. Members may need to present a copy of the flyer in order for the funds to be shared, so make sure that they are aware of this and that these flyers can be easily accessed either digitally or physically. With the holiday season well underway at this point, now is the time for Key Clubs to get festive with fundraising. Holiday-themed candy grands are always a blast. You can have members donate candy or buy candy in bulk to keep costs low. Members can purchase candygrams along with a short note to send to their friends. This is something, once again, many members are already familiar with and is a great way to raise some extra funds. Of course, these candygrams don't have to be festive. You could host this event at pretty much any point of the year. And if you're interested in incorporating a service element while raising funds for your club, you can always participate in local marathons or other races. Here you could see Mountain View Key Club on the left and Gila Key Club on the right of Division 44 at the annual Portland Marathon. Many times, the event coordinators will pay clubs for their participation. Like I said earlier, several clubs in Division 44 attended the annual Portland Marathon and were compensated for their assistance. Gila Key Club was actually able to garner a whopping $900 from their participation. Many of these races also take place during the holiday season, so be sure to keep a lookout. Still feeling stumped when it comes to fundraising ideas? I personally turn to websites like Pinterest when I'm feeling uninspired. Another way to gather ideas is to check out what other Key Clubs across your division and district are doing. It can be a great way to get some cool ideas. Also, don't be afraid to team up with other clubs either. Not only is this a great way to reach a larger audience, but we always love to see our Key Clubs building and promoting their inter-club relations. Before we move on, if you guys want to share in the chat some cool fundraisers your clubs have been up to, and I will go ahead and pass it on to Cosima to give you the rundown of the DCON registration process with a step-by-step walkthrough.
All right, thank you, Riley. And now I'm going to share the DCON registration packet. If you don't have an access to it, please ask your presidents or maybe your lieutenant governor, since Allison, our district secretary, has sent it out. So can everybody see my screen, hopefully? Okay, perfect. So let's talk about how you can register for this amazing convention. If you're registering for the virtual session, it'll look a little different, but let's first talk about how registering for DCON for those in person. First, you'll go to the website right here. I'm not going to read the URL, but it'll take you to the club login page for the DCON 2022 registration system. If you've not changed your password, if you haven't changed your password, please use your club ID as the username and password. However, when entering your username and password, please remember to put an H in front of your in front of the ID. So, for example, if your ID was 12345, your username and password will be H12345. Then you'll put in your advisor or the adult that will be chaperoning your club, such as your Kiwanis advisor. You also enter club information, payment method, and in the club information section, you'll be asked for your division number, arrival, and departure date. And your arrival date should be March 11th, 2022, and your departure date should be March 13th, 2022. And it'll look something like this. You'll then see a screen with your school name at the top. You can think of this as an Excel sheet of the members that'll be attending DCON from your club. You'll hit add new name and then enter the information that is being asked. You'll be asked for basic information for each attendee, including name, grade, email, phone number, and t-shirt size. You'll also have the opportunity to know any special needs for each attendee. Then, after all your attendees from your club have been added, you'll be able to set the meal type for each attendee, and that's going to be regular or vegetarian. You'll also be able to select ribbons for each attendee, as well as transportation to the event. Transportation will be a fee of $80 per person, and if you need a parking pass on site, which is $80 per car. Under each attendee, please click upload under medical release form, code of conduct form, and COVID-19 liability waiver to upload scanned copies of each form. Each member will have to fill out each form. You'll also need to click upload under the COVID-19 vaccination record card to upload the front side of each attendee's vaccination card. Next, click on housing, which will be down here during the event. You'll see a list of hotels to choose from. The Hyatt Regency is the main hotel and it's first come, first serve. And if the hotel is full, please choose another option. There will be 2 other options to choose from. So like I said, the Hyatt Regency is the main where all the events will be hosted, but there's also the Grand Hyatt and Olive 8. Then you'll choose the room type as well as who it is for, and you'll have to repeat this process for each member from your club. And then it'll look like this when you're selecting what kind of room for each person from your club. And if you plan to have any attendees, share a room with members of another club, do not assign them to a room yet, and you're able to save your registration progress without submitting. So if you are going to share a room with another member from a different club, you're going to want to follow these steps. First, you're going to talk to the advisor of the other club and decide which club will register the shared room. The price of the room will automatically be split up between the 2 clubs based on how many members from each club are in the room. If the other club is registering for the room, leave your attendees unassigned. You can complete your registration after the other club adds them to their room. If you're registering the shared room, add your attendee to the room with the process described earlier. So that'll be selecting the room type and the member. Then click add from another club to find the attendees from the other club. Select their school from the drop-down list. Select the names of the students from the other clubs. If the names do not show up in the drop-down list, contact the other advisor to make sure they have not already been assigned to the room. If you'd like to see which clubs are looking for roommates, you can visit a Google Doc that I can actually just put in the chat right now. Actually, I'll do it after I finish my slides. After all the housing information is entered, make sure it's correct. And if it isn't, make sure to update it accordingly. Once you're ready to move on, click submit hotel reservation, and now you're ready to pay. Choose your payment method, and then you will be sent a page for payment. If you select the credit card method, you can pay online. Make sure you read the advisor agreement and then hit submit. After submitting, you'll see a review of all your attendees, kind of like a receipt. Feel free to print copies of this page for all your members, though the invoice will be sent to the email address of the advisor of your club during the event. And that is how you register for DCON for in-person. But let's talk, this is what the invoice looks like. This is what your advisor will get through the email. So let's talk about virtual registration. Only a limited amount of virtual registration will be available for key clubbers or advisors who are unable to attend DCON 2022 because of school restrictions on field trips and/or health concerns related to COVID-19. This registration option will be available on first-come, first-served basis and will cost $85. However, each virtual attendee will need to register individually for DCON as opposed to as a club when registering in person. Please ensure that 2 delegates are selected per club prior to individual registration. In addition, all virtual attendees must read and accept the conditions stated in the Code of Conduct and photo release form, which will be in effect for the duration of DCON 2022. Virtual attendees can register and learn more about this registration option at this link. Yep. And that is how you register virtually. And the virtual registration is very simple.
Thank you, Kazuma. I pasted a link in the chat where you can access the registration packets on the DCON 2022 website. Now you have a chance to put any questions you have in the chat. All right, so I see one that says, when in time during the registration process, when do you recommend we should register for rooms? So you should register for rooms when you're registering your club for DCON, because like Kazuma said, the hotels fill up pretty fast, and we do have overfill hotels. But if you want to register for the main hotel, then I suggest do it as soon as possible. All right, I received another one that says, can clubs do virtual registration as a full club and not as individuals? So for online registration, you can register using one credit card, but you have to add each individual club member to the cart. So you can pay all together, but you have to register individually for online registration. All right, so hotel costs are extra. Yes, you have the registration cost and then you have the hotel cost, and depending on which room you pick, the quad room, the double room, or the single room, the costs vary from there, and you can also access the prices on the registration packets. All right, from Yeji, does this mean if our school does not have specific restrictions, we are not eligible to register to virtually? You can register virtually, but if your schools don't have any COVID restrictions regarding travel, I recommend attending in person because you'll get the fullest experience from in-person DCON. Victoria asked, do you have to be vaccinated in order to attend DCON in person? Yes, you have to be vaccinated. Everyone has to show proof of vaccination. Beverly asks, if an advisor is unable to attend, can key clubbers attend virtually? Yes, key clubbers can attend virtually if an advisor is unable to attend. From Tiffany, do attendees have to have a vaccine card? Yes, you have to show proof of your vaccination in order to attend DCON in person. All right, from Wendy, so the $295 covers. So the $295 is the registration combined with the room. So registration is a different price, and then plus, depending on which room you pick, the quad room, the double room, or the single room, the price varies from there. So $295 is the base price with registration plus quad room registration. All right, I've received another one that says, are club advisors required to attend, or can approved chaperones attend in place for the advisor? So club advisors can designate chaperones to attend in their place as long as they agree to have a Kiwanis background check and are over the age of 21. Alina asks, can you tell us more about the transportation fees and parking fees? All right, so if you look on the registration packet, you can find the transportation fees and the parking fees listed. They have specific pricing and they have specific info. And it's more in detail on the registration packets. Alice, do you have more information on the transportation fees and parking fees?
As far as I know, schools will manage their own transportation with their school districts. In 2019, most of the schools that were traveling out to DCON took district school buses. Other than that, if you have any further questions about transportation and parking fees that aren't covered in the registration packet, you can always contact us at convention@pnwkeyclub.org, and we can get that squared away for you. However, I would recommend looking through the registration packet carefully in order to get the details that you need.
Yes, thank you, Alice. All right, so another question in the chat says, do we have to stay in a hotel? Yes, so to attend DCON, all attendees must stay on site in a hotel for safety and security reasons due to COVID and among other things as well. And there are no exceptions, even if you live very close to the convention center, you cannot, you have to stay in the hotel. All right, another question says, our club cannot attend in person. We'd like to have all of our club members that register attend virtually in our auditorium. Can you give any information about how the virtual participation will work? Yeah, so the virtual participation, you'll have access to, of course, the guest speakers, entertainment, workshops, and various other things as well. So essentially you can watch through an auditorium with your club, and you have access to the same things. You'll be sent merch as well. The only thing is that you're not going to be in person, and you'll miss out on the in-person aspects, but you'll still have the opportunity to attend the workshops and watch the guest speakers and do all those things virtually. And like last year, if you attended DCON last year, it will work. Something similarly to that if you decide to do it virtually. All right. Another question I received was, what other events does DCON have besides guest speakers? Will there be volunteer opportunities? Yes, so DCON offers a wide range of events, activities throughout the whole weekend. So you'll meet a lot of key clubbers from other divisions from the PNW. So Washington, Oregon, and parts of Idaho. So it's a really fun opportunity to participate in spirit battles and really engage in this environment that is really electric and energetic like you've never felt before. So you will have opportunities to mingle, get to know each other, and it's a lot of fun in general. Yes, you have access to the workshops, the guest speakers, and then something we also do at DCON in person is the Governor's Ball, which is after closing session, everyone gathers into a ballroom, and it's kind of like a homecoming. Some people have said it's better than homecoming, so essentially it's just dancing, mingling with other key clubbers, and it's a lot of fun. All right, going back to the other questions. On the registration site, will we be able to go back and change things like the advisor or the payment options if those change, or do you permanently save it when you press save? So Alice, do you know more on that, if you are able to change things once you submit?
My understanding of the registration site, you can ask our webmaster Delaney Mock if you have any future questions, but once you submit your registration, I believe you would have to contact someone over here in order to change any details. However, before you do that, you should be able to save your work. However, I do recommend putting in all of your registration details on a separate document so that you can access them and change them before you have to officially submit them. It's going to be easiest if you do it like that. I would say if you're a club treasurer or a club secretary, to go ahead and keep a separate spreadsheet of all of your DCON attendees as well as their room. And then with your advisor, you can work through advisor details as well as payment details before you officially submit your registration. If you have any further questions or problems with the DCON registration site, you can always contact our webmaster, Delaney Mock, at webmaster@pnwkeyclub.org. And if you have any other questions about the registration page that are not covered there, you can contact our district administrator, Brian Egger, at administrator@pnwkeyclub.org as well. I will leave those emails in the chat so that you can access them. But yeah, I would definitely recommend opening up like a different Google Doc or a different spreadsheet so that you can keep all of those details in order before officially submitting them through the portal.
Right, and to ensure that no mistakes happen, make sure to submit early. Start on the process early so that you have everything in check, everything prepared, so that you don't have to end up in a situation where there is a mistake or error on the registration form. All right, so I received another question that says, is the discounted registration fee available to students, faculty advisors, and chaperones who live in the Portland metropolitan area because hotel accommodations are not necessary? Like I said before, all students, faculty advisors, and chaperones must stay in an official convention hotel, and requests for exceptions cannot be accommodated for safety and security reasons. All right, so Victoria asked, how can we access the recording of the webinar? So like all other webinars, they are uploaded onto our YouTube channel, which is PNW Key Club. So you can access all of our past webinar recordings there. There are a lot of useful videos on there. You can access the call to convention video on there as well, where you can showcase it to your clubs and give a glimpse of what DCON looks like to your members. All right, Tiffany asked, will there be any safety protocols put into this place, like social distancing, mask requirements, HEPA filters in the room? So regarding the safety protocols, yes, masks will be required at all times, except for when you're eating, of course. And then for the other safety measurements, the PNW Key Club will have private security guards posted at various locations surrounding the Oregon Convention Center and convention hotels. So these private security guards will be on duty Friday, March 11th from 9:00 p.m. to 1:00 a.m. and Saturday, March 12th from 9:00 p.m. to 1:00 a.m. So to help facilitate the movement of students from the Oregon Convention Center to their hotels and respond to any situations that might arise. So as an additional safety precaution, PNW Key Club is currently working with the Portland Police Department to increase patrols during the evening hours on Friday, March 11th and Saturday, March 12th, when students will be traveling to and from convention hotels. So there are a lot of safety measurements putting in place at DCON 2022. And with the HEPA filters in the room, I will have to double check on that and I will get back to you. And if you have any other additional questions, like Alice said, email at convention@pnwkeyclub.org. Richard asks, confirming that there is limited in-person contacts. There is limited virtual registration, and regarding the limited in-person contacts, we are taking all the safety measurements like social distancing, masking up. Currently, there is no limit to the in-person registration for DCON, but we are taking all the safety precautions due to COVID-19. All right, from Kylie, question, do you have any advice for deciding who goes and can't go to DCON? What important factors that we can look for interested attendees? So this is totally up to the club officers for deciding who goes and who doesn't go to DCON. Traditionally in my club, we worked on a first come, first serve basis. So if you were a dues paying member, and you signed up first come, first serve, then you go to DCON. And traditionally my club would take 20 members. So the first 20 who signed up and turned in all their packets, dues paid, they were the ones who goes to DCON. However, it doesn't have to work that way for every single club. Depending on what your officer group decides on, you can do different factors like who's the most involved in your club, and you pick the 20 of those who are involved. But overall, you have to be a dues paying member to attend DCON. All right.
Just to clarify, sorry, virtual attendance is limited and first come, first serve. However, we don't have a cap on in-person attendance. Virtual attendance right now is being offered specifically for extenuating circumstances. So we're trying to get as many delegates to district convention as possible. And so we are trying to prioritize those extenuating circumstances. We would say if you have members that are interested in attending DCON and your schools and district protocols allow for you to go, we would definitely recommend going in person. And we are currently watching those school district protocols as well and keeping an eye on them. And so we will have updates out as available to address Dennis's comment. However, just to address like Kylie's question, I would say if your school or if the members at your club find it financially feasible to attend, we personally from the district don't have a cap on how many people from each club can attend. And so you can send as many people as possible. However, I would also say to prioritize your delegates that will be voting at the House of Delegates so that we can have as many voting clubs participate as possible. Other than that, just to provide a different option from what Isabel provided, my home club used to have interest forms and we would do it on a first come first serve basis and basically try to get as many people to attend DCON as possible. And then those people that were committed to attending DCON would have to participate in other fundraising efforts in order to subsidize some of their costs. So if financial feasibility is an issue for your club, this is something that you could pursue. And also considering that your club, Kylie, is not too far from the convention venue, costs such as transportation would be greatly decreased. And so that is something that you could take into account.
Thank you, Alice. All right, so another question we received in the chat is, where are the parking procedures for DCON 2022? So faculty advisors and chaperones will need to purchase parking passes, and this is through the online registration system. Parking passes must be purchased through the online registration system. So clubs staying at the Crown Plaza Portland or Doubletree Portland, these are the overflow hotels, should park in hotel self-park facilities. And clubs assigned to the Hyatt Regency Portland and Courtyard Portland should park at the Oregon Convention Center. All right. Another question that we received is, what are the chaperones requirements? So chaperones may be a Kiwanian, faculty member, parent, legal guardian, or person in local parentis, all of whom must also be 21 or older and approved by the school and registered with and accompanying the Key Club members to DCON meetings and sessions. So chaperones must first register for the convention by submitting their own online registration form. Number two, they must have a background check on file with Kiwanis International. Number three, stay in their designated hotel. And four, remain on site during the convention, which means being at the Oregon Convention Center, an official convention hotel, or in transit between those locations, and accompanying students to meals or free time activities on Saturday in the general vicinity of the Oregon Convention Center and official convention hotels. So chaperones must be available to assist their students 24 hours a day and must also provide students with a cell phone number that will be answered by the chaperone at all times. And then another one from Jim, what is the advisor versus student ratio per school? So there must be at least one male chaperone for each 10 or part of 10 male students. Likewise, there must be at least one female chaperone for each 10 or part of 10 female students from the same school or school district. All right. Another question I received is, what dining options do my students have for dinner on Saturday, March 12th and breakfast on Sunday, March 13th? So dinner on Saturday, March 12th and breakfast on Sunday, March 13th are the only meals not included in your convention registration fee. So concessions will be available at the Oregon Convention Center for dinner on Saturday, March 13th. And in addition, advisors and chaperones will be given a list of restaurants and eateries within walking distance of the Oregon Convention Center for dinner on Saturday evening, and concessions will not be available in the Oregon Convention Center for breakfast on Sunday, March 13th. All right. Another question is PNW Key Club organizing transportation to Portland, Oregon. That is available to my club. So for clubs unable to coordinate their own transportation to Portland, Oregon, PNW Key Club is arranging for a limited number of shuttle buses departing from predetermined locations in the Seattle and Tacoma metropolitan areas. So passes for these shuttles will be available for a fee during the online registration process. They will also be sold on a first come, first served basis because space on these shuttles is limited, and schools and school districts are strongly encouraged to arrange their own transportation to Portland, Oregon. All right, are there any other questions? Please drop them in the chat. All right, so I received another one that says, how will convention hotels be assigned during the online registration process? Hotels are assigned on a first come, first served basis, like I've mentioned before, and requests for reassignments cannot be accommodated. All right, if you have any other questions, please drop them in the chat. All right, from Kylie, do we have to go through the traditional transportation? My club lives in Portland and could honestly take public bus or MAX. So like I said, you are strongly encouraged to arrange your own transportation to Portland, Oregon. So yes, you could arrange it through that way, and you don't need to take the shuttle. Richard asks, Saturday classes are all virtual. Richard, can you expand on your question, please? What you mean by Saturday classes? All right. So I received another one that says, for PO payments, will we need to mail the payment by February 1st, or does it need to arrive by the 1st? So it does need to arrive by the 1st. So make sure you have that planned out. And with everything else, award forms, registration packets, selection packets, they're all due on February 1st. Yes, and like how Alice says in the chat, Kylie, you can make arrangements with your school district to take non-traditional transportation. Schools in Portland have previously taken the MAX with permission from their school administrations. Oh, to answer your question, Richard, so student participants will not stay in their rooms on Saturday. So if you're attending in person, you will be doing all the festivities in person, like attending the workshops in person. You're not going to be attending virtually if you're in person. So you don't stay in your room on Saturday. The in-person component is all in person and it's not virtual. All right, so if you have any other questions regarding DCON, the registration process, feel free to email me at convention@pnwkeyclub.org or our district administrator at administrator@pnwkeyclub.org. Thank you for attending our DCON registration webinar. As a reminder, registration and award forms must be completed by February 1st, 2022. Start early and don't wait until the last minute. We hope to see you at DCON 2022. And again, if you still have any questions about DCON registration, please reach out to me at convention@pnwkeyclub.org or to our district administrator at administrator@pnwkeyclub.org. Thank you all and have a great night.